In the winter of 1891, at a YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts, a physical education instructor named James Naismith faced a challenge. His students needed an indoor sport that was less rough than football but more engaging than calisthenics. He sought a game of skill, not brute force. Naismith envisioned a sport where the ball was thrown, not run with, and where scoring involved an elevated target, reducing collisions. But a game without rules is merely chaos. Thus, the very first set of basketball rules was born out of necessity and a desire for fair, fun competition. Dr. Naismith's initial solution was remarkably simple, a list of 13 fundamental rules, written on 2 pieces of paper. These weren't designed to be exhaustive but to establish a basic framework. Key among them was the prohibition against running with the ball. Once a player caught it, they had to throw it from that spot. There was also no dribbling, no tackling, and the goal was a peach basket nailed 10 feet high. This foundation emphasized passing, strategic positioning, and accuracy, setting basketball apart from the more aggressive sports of its time. While Naismith's rules laid a solid groundwork, real-world play quickly revealed areas for refinement. The initial games were often chaotic and surprisingly rough, despite the intent for less physical contact. Players, accustomed to other sports, struggled with the no running with the ball rule, leading to frequent whistles and arguments. The peach baskets, closed at the bottom, required someone to retrieve the ball after every successful shot, causing significant delays. These early frictions were the natural growing pains of a new sport, highlighting the need for rules to evolve alongside the game itself to maintain flow and fairness. One of the most defining early rule changes involved how players moved the ball. Initially, players could only pass it. However, ingenious players soon realized they could bounce the ball while moving, creating an advantage and making the game more dynamic. This act, known as dribbling, was not explicitly forbidden by Naismith's original rules, but it certainly wasn't intended. By the late 1890s, colleges began to incorporate this technique. In 1901, the Intercollegiate Rules Committee officially recognized the dribble, profoundly changing offensive play and enabling faster transitions and individual ball movement. The original peach baskets created several problems. Not only did they necessitate ball retrieval after every score, but spectators often interfered, swatting the ball away or boosting it in. The solution arrived in 2 parts. First, backboards were introduced around 1893, primarily to prevent fan interference and allow for rebound shots. Soon after, the bottom of the baskets was cut out, allowing the ball to pass through cleanly, which eliminated constant delays and significantly sped up the game. This seemingly minor change had a huge impact on the pace and flow, making basketball a more continuous sport. In early basketball, fouls were a serious offense. The original penalty for a foul was a point awarded to the opposing team. But what constituted a foul, and how was consistency maintained? Recognizing the need for a more standardized and nuanced penalty system, the free throw was introduced in 1894. For certain infractions, a player from the fouled team would get an uncontested shot from a designated line, originally 20 feet from the basket, later shortened to 15 feet. This not only provided a fairer way to penalize fouls but also added a new strategic element to the game. Initially, Naismith allowed team sizes to vary depending on the available space, sometimes featuring up to 50 players on the court. However, this made the game unwieldy and confusing. The rule quickly settled on 5 players per team, a number that provided a good balance of movement, spacing, and strategy without overcrowding the court. Early substitution rules were also very strict, often allowing only 1 substitution per team per game, and only if a player was injured. This meant players had to endure the entire game, testing their stamina and highlighting the importance of staying out of foul trouble. For decades, after every made basket, play would resume with a center jump ball. This meant 2 players, usually the centers, would jump in the middle of the court, trying to tip the ball to a teammate. While it created exciting moments, it also slowed the game significantly and often favored taller teams. To increase offensive flow and speed up transitions, rules committees gradually shifted away from this. First, the jump ball was limited to specific situations like simultaneous possession. Then, in college basketball in 1973, the alternating possession era was introduced for jump ball situations and out-of-bounds plays, streamlining the game's restarts. As basketball evolved, so did strategies. A common tactic emerged where taller offensive players would camp in the lane, close to the basket, making it difficult for defenders to guard them without fouling, and congesting the area for other offensive players. To counter this and promote more dynamic offensive movement, the 3-second rule was introduced in 1936. This rule stipulates that an offensive player cannot remain in the opponent's key or lane area for more than 3 consecutive seconds unless actively involved in a play, such as shooting or driving. It was a crucial step in opening up the game, forcing continuous action and creating more space for perimeter play. Another development born from player ingenuity involved players interfering with shots either as they were descending toward the basket or once they touched the rim. Some defenders would simply swat shots away when they were clearly on their way down, or even reach up through the net to block them. To ensure fair play and protect the integrity of the shot, the rules of goaltending and basket interference were formalized. Goaltending prohibits defenders from blocking a shot once it begins its downward flight toward the basket or has touched the rim. Basket interference prevents players from touching the basket or backboard while the ball is on or above the rim. By the early 1950s, professional basketball faced a major problem: stall ball. Teams with a lead would often hold onto the ball indefinitely, passing it around to run down the clock without attempting to score, leading to incredibly low scoring and boring games. In 1954, the NBA introduced one of the most revolutionary rules in sports history, the 24-second shot clock. This rule required a team to attempt a shot within 24 seconds of gaining possession, fundamentally transforming the game. It forced continuous offensive action, dramatically increased scoring, and made the game far more exciting and watchable, quickly becoming a cornerstone of modern basketball. Following the success of dominant centers like George Mikan, who could effectively post up in the narrow lane and score almost at will, rulemakers looked for ways to balance the game and prevent one player from too easily dominating. The solution came in widening the lane, also known as the paint or key. Originally 6 feet wide, it was expanded to 12 feet in 1951 by the NBA and NCAA, and then again to 16 feet by the NBA in 1964. This change forced offensive players to work harder for post position and created more space for driving and perimeter shooting, further diversifying offensive strategies. As the game sped up, so did the frequency of fouls. To prevent excessive fouling and to make sure the game remained fluid and competitive, rules regarding individual and team fouls were refined. Players are allowed a certain number of fouls, typically 5 in college and 6 in the NBA, before they are fouled out of the game. Additionally, once a team accumulates a specific number of fouls in a period, called the bonus or penalty situation, subsequent non-shooting fouls result in free throws for the opposing team. This incentivizes teams to play cleaner defense and rewards offensive players for drawing contact, adding another layer of strategy to game management. Perhaps no rule change has had a more dramatic impact on basketball strategy than the introduction of the three-point line. First experimented with in the American Basketball League (ABL) in 1961 and popularized by the American Basketball Association (ABA) in 1967, it was eventually adopted by the NBA in 1979. This line, arcing around the basket at a greater distance than a standard two-point shot, awarded an extra point for successful attempts from beyond it. It instantly opened up the floor, encouraging perimeter shooting and stretching defenses, fundamentally changing how offenses are designed and how space is utilized on the court. It's a testament to how rules can evolve to create an entirely new dynamic. The dunk, a powerful and exhilarating display of athleticism, was not always celebrated. In fact, due to concerns about player safety and equipment damage, the NCAA actually banned dunking from 1967 to 1976. This period, sometimes referred to as the Lewell-Sendor Rule, later Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, aimed to reduce the dominance of powerful centers. However, its reintroduction ushered in an era of unprecedented aerial artistry and excitement. Today, the dunk is a cornerstone of basketball's appeal, showcasing explosive athleticism and transforming rules to embrace, rather than suppress, player expression and entertainment value. By the early 2000s, the NBA game had become increasingly physical, especially on the perimeter. Defenders were allowed to use their hands and forearms to check or impede offensive players, slowing down ball handlers and stifling offensive flow. This led to lower scoring and a less fluid game. In 2004, the NBA made a bold move by virtually eliminating hand-checking on the perimeter. This rule change was designed to free up offensive players, particularly guards, allowing for more drives, quicker movements, and increased scoring. It directly contributed to the high-scoring, skill-oriented game we see today, emphasizing speed and individual brilliance. As the stakes in basketball grew, so did the demand for accurate officiating, especially in critical moments. The human eye, no matter how skilled, can miss crucial details. Starting in the early 2000s and continually expanding, instant replay technology was introduced. Initially used for end-of-game situations like determining if a shot was released before the buzzer or clarifying fouls, it has evolved to review out-of-bounds calls, flagrant fouls, and goaltending. This integration of technology aims to ensure fairness and correctness, adding a layer of scrutiny that balances the speed of live action with the pursuit of perfect calls, making the game more accurate than ever. In the modern era, player safety has become a paramount concern, influencing several rule adjustments. Hard fouls that were once considered part of the game are now scrutinized more closely. The introduction of flagrant fouls categorizes increasingly severe physical infractions, carrying stricter penalties, including potential suspension. This emphasis ensures that the competitive spirit of basketball doesn't come at the cost of player well-being. From concussions to dangerous falls, the rules continue to adapt, promoting a safer environment for athletes while maintaining the game's physicality and excitement, reflecting societal shifts in sports culture. The cumulative effect of these rule changes has led to the pace and space era of modern basketball. The three-point line, coupled with the widened lane and the elimination of hand-checking, has opened up the court like never before. Offenses now prioritize quick ball movement, driving to the basket, and prolific three-point shooting. This style of play demands versatile athletes who can shoot, pass, and defend multiple positions. The game is faster, more fluid, and often higher scoring, a direct result of decades of rule evolution designed to make basketball both a fairer contest and a more thrilling spectacle for fans worldwide. The evolution of basketball rules is far from over. As analytics and technology continue to advance, we might see new rule proposals aimed at further enhancing the game. Could four-point shots from half-court become a thing? Will advanced sensor technology reshape foul calls or out-of-bounds decisions even more? The discussion around rules is constant, always seeking the optimal balance between tradition, innovation, player safety, and entertainment. What remains certain is that basketball, a sport born from a simple idea, will continue to adapt, ensuring its enduring appeal and dynamic nature for generations to come. From Naismith's initial 13 principles to the sophisticated rulebook of today, the story of basketball rules is a testament to the game's incredible adaptability. Each amendment, each tweak, and each significant overhaul has been a response to the way the game is played, the athleticism of its players, and the desires of its fans. The rules are not static, they are a living document, constantly refined to maintain fairness, encourage skill, and ensure that basketball remains one of the most exciting and dynamic sports on the planet. They are the unseen scaffolding that supports the breathtaking spectacle we all love.